Hello fellow Axe users, a bit late to the game in terms of doing a video on this sort of thing, because obviously the Axe 3 is out now and a lot of people are going over to that and that setup, but I still use the 2 and I'm still going to use the 2. This is my obsolete MFC-101 and I'm just showing you, because I find it interesting, exactly how I use it. I play in two bands, and one's a covers band, and the covers band, obviously many different songs, many different effects needed, but I try and keep the same amp sounds and distortion sounds throughout the whole set of songs, so we don't have any drastic changes. I'm using a matrix amplifier and a two 12-inch speaker cabinet, so I generally use one amp style. I have got a switch for switching between amp styles if I need it in a particular song, and also I use two drive blocks, with the XY selection. I use a single delay mostly. In most songs I use a single delay with the XY choice. Sometimes it's a longer, more delay on the green, and then just a standard, very usable delay on the red, which is to add a bit of depth to the sound, a bit of three-dimensional clarity, and that's typically the protocol with all my XY changes, is that red is the standard lower gain versions of the drive blocks and green is the higher gain versions, probably the opposite to your traditional amp channel switching methodology. But the way I see it is that if red is off for the compressor and off for the blocks individually, and green is on, then it makes sense to me that we have the red as the lower gain and the green as the higher gain, green being on, more gain on. It's a binary thing. So way I have it is I use a song by song our scenes, and generally what I'll have is I'll have the introduction to the song, intro, sound, general sort of sound, verses, and then I have 3, which is solo, and solo will invariably engage this pedal over here as well. 4 is every song has got something strange going on it in the middle 8, or something bizarre, so 4 will be that weird thing that happens in that song for that moment, which is something that, be surprised that it comes up a lot when you're doing cover songs, that there's something, oh, we need a flanger at this bit. Well, I don't have a flanger set up, but I can rig it to number 4. So as you can see, my scenes go from 1 to 4 along the bottom, which obviously come into play when you hit the reveal button. And there we have it. I'm now on scene 1. As I said, generally I use just a single amp model, mostly. Only if the song demands it will I use a different amp type, and sometimes I use a clean amp, so sometimes I want a bit more gain on the input of that amp, or slightly different settings, so I will put that into the amp. It won't be a drastically different amp. Right, so from, as you can see, the tuner at the top there, which is also the tap tempo, so it's the tap tempo which is also the tuner. It used to be chorus, but I only used chorus with one song, so I thought, well, I don't need that button to be a chorus pedal. I can just bring it in via number 4. If I want chorus, I'll have it on 4. Generally all my presets are the same, and the amp and the drive blocks are all linked to a global block, which is matched to all of the presets in all that songs in all that band. So we've got 25 songs, and you'll have all the drives. For most of them, all the drives are linked. So if I'm in the song 1, I'm in the room or on the stage and we play, I can make changes to the amp during a sound check or the beginning of a rehearsal, and it will translate across all my presets the way I want it. Delays are not linked, because some delays you need specifically to a song. For example, we do Dog Days by Florence and the Machine, and that's got a very fast delay at the start. Well, it's the only song I use that very fast delay, so for that reason I have it. Delays are per song, and compressor also is per song. Hardly use the compressor, I use it for sustain really. The EQ boost is also separate per preset, because sometimes I just want a different tone, so I'll EQ the tone but keep the level the same. So if I want like a scooped mid sort of kind of thing, rather than adjust the drive block or the amp, I just add the EQ there, and I do that for that single song. Most of the time it's used as a boost. The other thing I've got here, which you may notice, is the controls up here, which are per scene volume changes. So that's arrow up for 1 dB and arrow down for 1 dB. So per scene I can push the volume up by 1 dB while I'm playing, and then that gets instantly stored to the preset without having to press save or anything like that, which is really handy, because obviously as you progress through your set several times, you'll start to learn, or it will start to learn with the levels which are correct for your songs. Sometimes you know, number 3 is the same level as number 3 being the solo. Rather than have the EQ on, I just press this a couple of times on scene 3, and then that pushes up the gain after the amplifier. After all the gain style effects, to produce like a 3 or 4 dB gain, probably 3 or 2 or 3, something like that, not very much. Which is really handy, because you just click 3 and then you just press through the press the scenes up and down in order to change the level of the scene. That's about it so far. The loop, which what I've got is got a loop which will run. I can turn on the loop pedal, and I've put these stickers on the bottom which obviously correspond to the general controls of the standard loop controls. So we've got record, play till the stop, overdub, and that is tap tempo for the system. When you have a looper engaged, this becomes looper on and off. Can't do anything about that. But yeah, this becomes tap tempo, and got metronome on and off, metronome sound. Got divide symbol for half speed, and a reverse or arrow pointing to the left for reverse, and an undo, which looks like an undo figure. I'll just draw you in close to see those. One here marks Satch X2. That's just a control switch which used to be on my saturation parameter on the amp, but it's now on, I use it on the gain boost parameter, which on clean amp like the AC30 model or the FAS clean 30 model, I think it is, that really makes it break up really nicely. Sometimes I hit it by accident and it's very loud, but yeah, that's that. Wire-wise, external 1, external 3, CC18, use it for killing in the name of, auto-engage the pitch shift, and also auto-engages on that song the EQ for the guitar solo. That's about it.